I think the sound logo is essential as the logo itself, because the sound logo is something that helps you to understand what are the values, what are the things that actually are not visible, and which is much more richer than just purely the visual aspect of the logo.
So once we decided that we wanted to come up with the sound logo, now was the right time. We knew we didn't quite have the expertise in-house, so we reached out to Max from Raven & Finch, a sound designer that is based in Austria, and he came up to Berlin and did a kickoff workshop with us.
Our process is structured in a basically threefold way. We research, then we do strategy prototyping phase, and after that we do the execution phase. And what this means is, first in the research phase, we take a look at what's already there music-wise for the brand, what does the market field do, what do the competitors do from a sound perspective.
So it was really interesting to just get a better understanding of where we were, and then start to think about where we wanted to go and what we wanted to sound like in the future.
I think we started out with doing like 7 different initial prototypes. And from that, I think we defined 3 to develop further on and say like, well, this is something that is promising.
This was actually one of my favorites out of the prototypes. It was nice and dreamy, a little bit ethereal. It kind of sounded like something maybe at the beginning of a video game.
Oh yes!
That was a little bit too Stranger Things in the hype of that kind of Netflix nostalgic bubble.
And I think like this is something that we then agreed upon, that this is not who we are, because it's so loaded already immediately as soon as you hear that. I think that was one of the earlier iterations, a little bit slower already.
It sounds right, but it also doesn't have the complexity that our final logo does, with this kind of depth of percussion that we ended up going with in the end.
The final sound that we ended up having is something that is reflecting our brand values. We want to be humble, we want to be approachable, we want to be trustworthy.
So we had these new, more humanist colors that we were coming up with. We were looking at different photography style and using more faces in our advertising. So we really wanted something that would inject a bit of personality, feel human and welcoming.
It's a little bit like with smell, it's like you can't smell that anymore, right? Like it's the same with sound. You can't say like what is the difference, and therefore it's like very good to have every now and then like fresh ears in the room to actually provide a new and fresh perspective as well.
Once you go like, oh, I can't really see or hear it, or, you know, it's just too much, you know, internally, I definitely have seen it, have heard it too many times. You know, within the marketplace for your customers, this is where they actually start identifying it with your brand and go like, okay, well, I make the connection here, right?
Sometimes it was difficult along the journey because it was such a long project to get to this point, to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it was worth it in the end, most definitely. And I think this logo will carry the brand forward for many, many years to come.